Let me first talk about music, so performing arts. We have two key areas. One would be performing arts, and the second is music education. Now, with performing arts, this program is designed to help talented, disciplined, passionate students who already have the ability to play at a certain level. We will increase their knowledge and increase their skill by giving pedagogical as well as different repertoires that will help them reach their goals. We have a template, a foundational template, which helps people or students arrive where they want to go. So if you want to be a rapper, if you want to be a jazz pianist, if you want to go into production, if you want to go into technology, we offer basic courses in those fields. So performance is the field for those students who already have a prior knowledge to playing, who probably played 4 or 5 years and just want to increase their skill level. Education is our most popular endeavor at this point because lots of students who come here really don't have any background in playing an instrument. They need to learn how to pay the bills, so to speak. So they do that by what? Getting a degree in education. And our education degrees are offered from kindergarten through 8th grade and then 9th through 12th. So actually the program is K through 12, elementary and secondary school. And this program is designed to teach various aspects of learning. Now, after 2 years, let's say, of a particular course of study, we sit down with the student and advise that student, well, after 2 years, let's say he wants to be a performance major. You don't really quite have it. You don't have the talent. Music takes talent, as I said, discipline. It takes all of that passion. It takes these things. And if you don't have it, then maybe your interest or your talent lies in another field. Sometimes it can be in education. Other times, we suggest that they go to other disciplines altogether. Now, in music, we had 2 courses of study. Well, also in art, we have 2 courses of study. We had studio arts and museum studies. Now, the studio arts program is a program designed to help students become let's say, aware of painting, printmaking, ceramics, graphic design, and these are all supported by coursework. Let me say that again. Painting, printmaking, ceramics, and graphic design. These are the major emphasis of the visual arts program, and that's all surrounded by coursework. Also, we have what is known as 2D design and 3D design. Now, the museum studies is the second course of study. So the first study again is the visual arts major or studio arts track. The second is known as museum study track. And this deals with students who are interested in museum studies. That means curating, arts administration, even education. Our minor course, I call it, is a person who is interested in an avocation, not a vocation. In other words, if you're in biology, let's say, and you want to learn, something about music because you played music, for 8 or 9 years, and you want to double, let's say, do a minor in music. All right, so in the minor, music includes 2 semesters of theory, music theory, learning the wherefores and the whys of how music is put together, the scales, chords, all of that, and we learn about music history too. So the minor, which at this point is about 22 credits, unlike our major, which is 124 credits. It's normally a 2-year program, and you still have to do 4 semesters of piano because we want all of our majors and minors to be proficient in piano. Now, one of the other interesting things about our department is this. We believe all of our majors or minors have to take piano proficiency. Now, particularly in education, that can be a touchy subject sometimes, because let's say you're in education, and I don't want to call it a dual major, but basically if you're in education, you play some instrument and you're still taking the education courses. So everybody has to take applied lessons. So if you're in this education program, so you've got to take 8 semesters of applied lessons in addition to the other course requirements. Which does not include pianos. In other words, you might be a trumpet player, or a saxophone player, or even a vocalist, okay? Because that's one of our strong departments. The vocal department, along with the choir, is our big salient selling point at this point. But but they're not always so full of pianistic acumen. So as a result, we give them 4 semesters. They get 4 credits for class piano. Most people think that when they come to a college to study music, they're studying from a Western European perspective, and clearly that is important, very, very important. But what we do, for instance, in our music history classes, or music lit classes as it's called, and if you're going to be a performance major, you have to take 2 semesters of music literature. And that deals with the history of music from antiquity all the way up to the 21st century. But we have a new component in our department now, and that is that I'm insisting that all of our professors talk about music from the African perspective as well. And why do we do that? Because it's been put under the rugs for so long, and I've been doing all of this research, and I'm finding out that there's so much music, Kemet and other areas that have been under the rugs, and they're one of the premier cultures that started this melodic design that we know today. And when we think in terms of like popular singers and how they sing and what they do with this, not the scale, the Western European, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. No, African music, it's full of African vocality, where there are notes that are sung quarter tones in between the notes. And you listen to singers today, and that's what they're all doing. I mean, they're all singing in between the notes. Gospel music is the same thing. And that's all a throwback from these early stages of music, which Western music, unfortunately, doesn't talk about. Every applied lesson must entail learning music or the repertoire of African American composers as well. So we're doing Western music as well as African American music. The Barnes Foundation was a collection of art. It was created by a doctor, an eye doctor by the name of Albert C. Barnes. And he wanted to, well, he created it because he created this, or he invented this chemical called Argerol. And that's a chemical which, it's a chemical that you put in a baby's eyes, and it helps them to ward off any kind of disease. He made a fortune doing that. And he was always an art lover, so he went all over the world collecting wonderful artworks. The collection itself right now is valued at $63 billion.
Wow.
$63 billion. And of course now, it's down on the Parkway, or the Champs-Élysées as I call it. Well, yeah, okay, let's start with visual arts right now.
Okay.
Obviously, in visual arts, I mean, a painter,
Sure.
or a printmaker, or even a sculptor dealing with ceramics. Now, museum studies is a little more staid. What do I mean by that? In other words, it's a person who's interested in becoming a curator, organizing art pieces, in other words, on a specific theme. I mean, now, in museum studies, you can also become an arts administrator. What does that mean? Well, in the school system, designing programs for up-and-coming students who are interested, okay? And then also arts education. Colleges, often have programs where they're hiring curators to teach. Right now, we're looking for an art historian, one who is has acumen with museum studies. We're looking for that, and who has a thorough background in Black studies as well. We've gotten lots of candidates, but finding something specifically that deals with the history of art as it relates to African art and Western European art, that's difficult to find. There is one other thing that I want to bring out, though. Barnes, in his infinite wisdom, asked Horace Mann Bond, who was the president of Lincoln University back in the 50s, to oversee this entire Barnes collection. Now, who ever heard of this? I mean, here we have a black president at a small university to come, and he's asking him to take over this collection and to oversee its dissemination and sponsorship. Well, not sponsorship, but just to oversee that it's done. It's directed in a way that he sees fit. Barnes wanted everybody, middle class people, who never really had a chance to understand art. He wanted people to understand that. So that's one of the reasons why he chose Dr. Horace Mann Bond. And the other thing is this. People don't realize this, but the Barnes collection has quite a collection of African art as well. And so the fact that we now have access to the entire collection, because the art department, has trips that they go down to the museum, and with this new program that will be instituted, students from Lincoln will travel down to Philadelphia to the Art Museum once a week and have access to that magnificent collection. The collection itself, in addition to housing African art, it's primarily known as, I think, the world's largest collection of impressionistic art. I mean, there are pieces by Degas, Manet, Renoir, Rousseau, and Modigliani and Soutine. Now, some of these artists you might not know of, but they are fascinating. And as I said, music is a mirror of society. Art is a mirror of society. And the great thing about arts in general is that it can't always be put into words, but when you see a piece of artwork or you hear a piece of music, it strikes something emotionally. And sometimes that's the best way. I mean, you can't always get words out of it. So when I said it's a passionate kind of thing, that's exactly what it is. But again, it's all predicated in the academic science of learning the fundamentals of what makes music and art come together for personal expression. Professor Chapp is over the art collection here,
Okay, all right.
and he will be responsible, my understanding, to that collection as well. We have a very, very unique African collection that alumni and others have donated to the school. Much of it is housed in the LLC building now in the basement.
Right.
But Professor Chapp is bringing it up and bringing it out, shall we say, at the International Cultural Center. There are exhibits over there, and also, at Ware Center in our building. We have much African art as well, and art by different students.
That's great.
So, this is a collection that will grow even more because, that collection has been, in the basement for so long. There's so many art pieces that I didn't know about, and I'm seeing, pieces from Africa, from Ghana, from Nigeria, that alumni have sent here, and now it's beginning to come to the fore. So, Lincoln is clearly a repository for great art, visual art, as well as performing arts. Well, Orange Crush is the band. And, with all bands, we started our band in 2006. And our band has made incredible progress. And not only that, but they've become award-winning, and an award-winning group as well, going to various college affairs, meet the band kind of situations, and doing very well under Professor H. Wade Johnson, who in my view is a miracle worker. Now, we have Professor Edwin Coleman, who is the director of the choir. The choir did a 40 concert semester last semester. They were extremely busy. They, as a matter of fact, even went to California. They're one of our best recruiting instruments, to tell you the truth. They do a variety of pieces, you know, from Western classics to spirituals to even jazz and gospel pieces. And it's our biggest recruitment tool. Now, the other thing is, if you want to see either of these organizations, you don't even have to listen to me. Go to YouTube and just chime in, Lincoln University Marching Band or Lincoln University Concert Choir, and you'll see exactly what I mean.